Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today I've got some Planetside 2 gameplay. We're playing at Paris Amp Station. This battle started right in the middle of the night. And I gotta say, nighttime in Planetside 2 is way different than nighttime in other games. People are hard to see. And they don't generally do that in other first-person shooters. They try and give you this sort of nighttime effect, but still allow you to see your opponents pretty clearly. It's more of an atmospheric feel. Well, in Planetside 2, not only is it atmospheric, but you kind of have to change up your play styles. And certain factions like the Vanu, who are dark purple, are usually very hard to see during nighttime battles. Currently I'm using the Solstice VE3, and it's mostly because I completely ranked up the VX6-7 carbine for Vanu, and I just kind of wanted to switch it up, unlock some medals with another gun. The medals that you get for weapons can actually give you quite a few cert points, so it does make sense to kind of switch up guns every now and then, even if you kind of have found your best weapon or a gun that you're really comfortable with. If you do use other guns, it can be very worthwhile for getting those cert points that you need to unlock new attachments. And clearly I'm playing the light assault class, using my jetpack to get around. Fail knife this sniper over here. But I'm playing sort of on the outside walls of the base. My team is assaulting, they're all spawning from asunder, they're running towards the walls. So what is something good that light assault classes can do? Well, they can get up on the walls, they can come up in areas where the enemy won't really be expecting them, and they can take out the wall defense pretty easily. Now, in the beginning of Planetside 2, I used to try and get the light assault, get over a wall, kill a few people, and then try and get into the heart of the base and start taking down shields and just trying to progress in the capture of the base. And I realized after playing for a while that this really isn't going to work too well, because even if you do manage to sort of overload a shield reactor and even maybe defend it until it explodes, unless you have enough of your team backing you up there, it's not really going to matter. They'll just come in and repair it, then you got to go do the same thing again. So my new strategy is to basically try and clear off the walls, clear off any sort of defensive situations with light assault, and allow my team to progress up further, get some sunders, maybe even in the base, and then I can worry about attacking key objectives. Now, I've talked about the light assault class quite a bit before. It is without a doubt my favorite class, just the agility of it to fly anywhere, and rather than taking the paths most commonly traveled, you can often just jump down wherever you want and just pop up wherever you want. Take the best covered paths or the least expected paths to stay alive. But a great thing about this class is that if you invest the cert points, you can carry 2 sticks of C4 with this class. That'll allow you to take out any heavily armored vehicle, unless there's a Sunder with some really good armor plating. I don't know if 2 sticks of C4 will take it out, but for the most part, tanks and anything else you can take out with 2 sticks of C4. Most of the time you only need 1. And especially when assaulting a base, there'll often be a artillery turret set up, taking out tanks and infantry that are approaching. You can take those out with your C4 sticks as well. So it's very, very useful. An effective tactic in close quarter engagements or even indoor engagements is to use your jetpack. Oftentimes when people come around a corner, they expect to see their opponents at sort of eye height level. You don't expect to see a guy hovering in the air or perhaps even hovering above the doorway. I've had plenty of people run under my position because of well-timed jetpack use. So you can kind of just hover around them or hover right over them. Running around a corner and then hovering up in the air is a great way to trick people. It's funny how frequently it works, but it's just a really, really useful tactic for not having to take people on head-on, especially heavy assaults, because heavy assaults are very used to activating their shields whenever they get into a firefight. Something that kind of annoys me about the class, because it really does allow them to absorb a huge amount of fire. You could be spot on with your aim, doing much better in a firefight, but a heavy assault with just highly ranked shields can pretty much absorb most of your fire in a medium range engagement. So you got to use everything that you have to your advantage to take out some of the other infantry classes. Now, we're still assaulting Paris Amp Station, and the time has changed to daytime, and I've decided to switch over to my scythe. They've kind of gotten wise to my tactics on the base wall, and they've gotten a little more effective in thwarting them, getting used to looking for me in my spots. So I decided, you know what, if your tactics aren't working, switch them up. The scythe is incredibly effective again for assaulting bases. We managed to have a pretty good lockdown on their turrets. So once you take out their anti-air turrets, then your air vehicles can basically dominate the base, assuming they don't have any other air vehicles up in the air at the time. So just going around here with my infrared vision and looking at infantry, picking off lone infantry is really effective and really helpful for your team. Making sure to keep your eyes on your radar, not so much for enemies, but for friendlies, in fact, because friendly fire and friendly collisions in air vehicles is just painfully common in this game. There's so many pilots in this game, and they always tend to hang around the dense combat areas. So you got a lot of people zooming around with afterburners at full speed, and the minimap doesn't give you a lot of time to react to that. So you really just got to be aware of what's going on around you. I got locked, so I decided to move away from the base, and here I find some Reavers and get a full mag into this guy. He's pretty much toast, on fire, trying some wonky maneuvers, and then somebody else takes him down, and I get a pretty high assist for it. Picking your targets is very important. You'll notice I was tracking one Reaver and then switched to the second Reaver. You always want to pick the target that basically has line of sight over the other targets, but the other targets don't have line of sight over it. So if there's guys walking in a line, you don't shoot the guy in the front of the line first, because you alert everybody in the back of the line. You shoot the guy in the back of the line first, then work your way up so that people aren't alerted to their teammates getting taken out. So same applies for anything in air vehicles, tanks, whatever it is. You just want to take out targets that are basically not going to alert the other targets to your position. Now, I'm always talking about the development of Planetside, following along with how changes to the game really do affect the flow of battle and the enjoyment of battles. And it's something that's really interesting because the devs are so open about the progress of this game. One thing that hasn't really changed too much since launch is basically the system requirements, and that's kind of one of the Achilles heels of this game, is that it requires a pretty darn good computer to play well. I know a lot of the core gamer audience are in college or in school still, and you don't have a lot of means to make enough cash to get by and get a nice computer. I mean, most people can afford like a mediocre gaming computer, but Planetside is really going to sort of require a high-end CPU to get the best performance out of it. Now, I was in the exact same boat in college. I did work a part-time job, but it really was more for food and other things like that, and I didn't have extra cash to get a nice gaming PC. But my roommate helped me out and hooked me up with this cool survey website, and I ended up making a bit of extra cash that I basically dedicated to upgrading my computer. Now, back then you kind of had to get invited to the program, and it was all kind of weird paperwork stuff, but now my brother has been using this site called opinionoutpost.com, and it's the same thing where you sort of fill out surveys and give marketers your opinion on products and stuff like that, and then you get paid, or you can choose from rewards and stuff like that from the program. It's kind of cool. They do giveaways and that sort of thing, but what's best about this program for people who especially are in school is that you don't have to like attend it like it's a full-time job, and that's exactly what my brother does. When he has a free hour or so, he'll go on here and fill out a few surveys, make a little extra cash, and you know, at the end of the month he can get a new CPU or GPU or something like that. It's definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme, but it's very useful for somebody who's got a little extra time and wants a little extra cash to upgrade your gaming PC. And naturally, it's free to get into. You don't have to pay any money or anything like that, so it's just really easy to do. So I'm going to leave the link to that site in the description if you guys are interested, because, you know, I love this game, and I think it's unfortunate that it has such high system requirements. And I'd love as many people who want to play this game to get into it and actually play it. I can tell a lot of the time when I'm fighting against somebody who's got a really bad computer system, especially when I'm playing Light Assault and I jump jet into the air, and those guys like have an impossible time trying to hit me because they're getting like 10 or 15 frames per second. Your computer hardware really is going to hold you back in this game more so than any other game. So the battle for Paris Amp Station continued into the day, and I ended up switching into some anti-air turrets to defend it while we were waiting for the cap timer to go down, and finally we get it. Capture Paris Amp Station. Took a while. It was a pretty engaging battle. A lot of different techniques were implemented on my part throughout the the course of the battle to get the job done. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.